Okay, your top 10 NFL defensive tackles. So I'm going to be ranking on defensive tackles about how good they are right now. So I'm going to take into account their overall career, but more importantly, their 2023 season. So number 10, I'm going to have Justin Madubuike. Probably had the best defensive tackles season in 2023. He had 13 quarterback sacks, I think, which is the most for any defensive tackle, and 33 quarterback hits, which I think is also the most for a defensive tackle in 2023. 12 tackles for loss, which is very, very good. PFF grade of 77.4, so very good, probably the best 2023 season. But looking at a career-wise, Justin Madubuike has been at best average outside of his 2023 season. Before, I think his best sack total was like 4.5 sack. Justin isn't particularly great against the run or anything. He's just kind of average against the run, but he's a 2023 he broke out, but I gotta see more than one season from him before I put him above number 10. And number 9, I'm gonna have Vita Vea, probably the only true nose tackle on this list, and that kind of hurts him. Vita Vea is often double teamed. He's supposed to get double teamed, and that unfortunately hurts his numbers a little bit. But he's still like an amazing, amazing run defender, run defensive tackle, and effective pass rusher with 5.5 sacks, 9 quarterback hits. So he's still effective at the pass rush, but I think being a nose tackle prevents him from putting up great stats and keeps him lower on this list at number 9, which isn't bad at all. Number 8, I'm gonna have Cameron Heyward. Before 2023 season, Cameron Heyward probably would have been a top 5 defensive tackle, but he probably had his worst season in a while last year, playing in only 11 games, 33 tackles, only 2 sacks, and 3 quarterback hits. He still was good versus the run. Cameron Heyward has always been like probably one of the best run defensive tackle, and the last couple of years he's been really good versus the um, pass rushing. I think in 2021, 2022, he had more than double-digit sacks. But like I said, last year he definitely slowed down. That drops him on the list a little bit, but it's only one bad season, so I'm not going to take him out of the top 10. But he definitely, I think age is starting to show for him a little bit, so he's only at number 8 despite having a very, very good career. Number 7, I'm going to have Derek Brown, probably the best run stuffing defensive tackle. He had 103 tackles. That is insane for a defensive tackle. 15 quarterback hits isn't bad. 7 tackles for loss isn't bad. But his 2 sacks, I think he keeps it low on the list and keeps being underrated because of his sack total. He just doesn't have the impact that a lot of other guys have when rushing the passer. He's still a very good PFF grade, mainly because of his great run defense and 103 tackles. But if he wants to go to the top 5, I think he has to get better at pass rushing. Then at number 6, I'm going to have Christian Wilkins, another guy that broke out in 2023 with 65 tackles, 9 sacks, which is like 4.5 more than his previous high. 23 quarterback hits, which is great. 10 tackles for loss and 1 forced fumble. His PFF grade is probably the lowest he's been in since like his second year, with only a 71.8. But Christian Wilkins last year in Vic Fangio's scheme, he broke out with 9 sacks. Like I said, the most he's ever had, 23 quarterback hits. But similar to Madubuike, this is pretty much his only good pass rushing year before he was at best average at pass rushing. But Wilkins has always been a very, very good run defender. Even um, the previous years before he broke out, he was always been a very, very probably one of the top run defensive tackles, which keeps him higher on this list than somebody like Madubuike. Number 5, I'm going to have Jeffrey Simmons, another guy that's coming off not his best season. 12 games, 44 tackles, 5.5 sacks, 11 quarterback hits, 10 tackles for loss, which is pretty good for just 12 games. 1 forced fumble, but a lower PFF grade with only a 68.4. Simmons, he's very good versus the run. Probably not as good as other guys like Wilkins or Cameron Heyward, but he has more pass rushing. He's much better as a pass rusher. He can be very, very disruptive. Last year in 2022, you had 7.5 sacks. He can be, like I said, very disruptive, way more than the previous guys. And a very good run defender. He's just coming off probably one of his worst years, which probably only keeps him at number 5, even though I probably would have put him at number 4 or 3 before the season started. Number 4, I'm gonna have Quinnen Williams. Another very good season. Didn't have like double-digit sacks like he did in 2022, but he still had 5.5 sacks, 20 quarterback hits, which is really good. 11 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, and a 90.6 PFF rating. Quinn Williams, I feel like people started to run away from Quinnen Williams. He's equally good in both the pass rush and the run defender, so people stayed away from him, which lowered his numbers a little bit. But he was still very effective. Those 20 quarterback hits are really good. Um, and he will still change the game for the better for the Jets defense. And number 3, I'm gonna have Dexter Lawrence. He's been consistently good for like the last couple of years now. Very probably kept the Giants' run defense afloat. I feel like if the Giants didn't have Dexter Lawrence, they probably would have had one of the worst defenses. 53 tackles, but only 4.5 sacks. Still, 21 quarterback hits, very good. 7 tackles for loss, and he had the highest PFF grade. Probably another great defensive tackle against the run. Very good versus the pass rush. Um, he's just a very good all-around defensive tackle, but he's not really as game changer as number 1 and 2. Number 2, I'm gonna say I know he's retired, but I'm still gonna keep Aaron Donald. 2023, not his best season, but very, very good season by Aaron Donald. 16 games, 53 tackles, 8 sacks, 23 quarterback hits, 16 tackles for loss. That's a ton, and a 90.8 PFF grade. Donald, he's been double teamed, he's been triple teamed. He still continues to make an impact. Still has 8 sacks, which is still very good. 23 quarterback hits is great. Donald, he's just a game changer. He's one of the few game-changing defensive tackles in the league. And the other game-changing tackle in the league would be Chris Jones. Yes, I think the past 2 seasons, Chris Jones has had like 25.5 tackles or sacks in the past 2 seasons, which I think is good enough to leapfrog Aaron Donald. He only had 30 tackles. Not sure what that's up. Not sure what that's up. Only 30 tackles. He did have 29 quarterback hits. That's like only second to Justin. 13 tackles for loss. 88.1. Chris Jones, probably a true game changer. Probably the only star on the defensive line on the Chiefs, and he's a true game changer. The Chiefs defense is just not the same without Chris Jones. So I'm gonna have Chris Jones at number 1. And for everybody that skips the end of the video, here's my top 10 list, and 2 honorable mentions being Jalen Carter. He had a very good rookie season, but he's only had 1 season, so I'm not going to put him in the top 10 yet. And DJ Reader, another guy that's very, very good against the run, but just doesn't have the pass rush skills to make it in the top 10. So there you have it, my top 10 defensive tackles in the NFL.